Right, let's talk Arsenal. Now, we did a video on the More James Allcott channel with me, the other day after the FA Cup defeat, and I'm intrigued to know how everyone feels. Maybe go, and if you did comment on that video, come and comment on this one and let me know if your emotions are different. Obviously, you've won the North London derby. You've won it fantastically well, or efficiently well, and we're going to talk about that. We've done a video on Tottenham and their season, and they're 13th, by the way, guys. Did you know that? And Arsenal are in second position. Wellity. Maybe it's not as bad as you all thought. Now, I think fair enough. Look, 4 points ahead Liverpool, with a game in hand. Sure. But look at Man City. If you'd said at the start of the season you'd be that far ahead of Man City, who I went and saw actually against Brentford, and they were really bad off the ball, like surprisingly bad off the ball. I do not see them anywhere near the title race this year, like no way near. And look, got that wrong before, but we'll see. But what about you lot? What about Arsenal, especially off the back of North London derby victory? And that's what we're going to talk about here, because I spoke about this in the Tottenham video that's just gone up on the channel. So make sure you subscribe to More James Allcott channel. When we want to go outrageously deep on a video, then the main channel is there. But when we just want to have a chat about the talking points, and I think after the week that Arsenal had and the 3 games that you've had, tough game against Newcastle, tough game against Man United, and then a tough game against Tottenham. I say tough. It wasn't that tough, was it? It was pretty comfortable. This is the main point that I made in the Tottenham video, and it was a big point that I made in the video I made about what's going wrong at Arsenal. And we kind of talked about the forwards, and we can get to that. But one thing we did focus on, and one thing that Tottenham don't do, is they don't win when they don't win the XG battle. Now, you don't really win when you don't win the XG battle as well. But you've won twice. Tottenham haven't won once. And as you can see, the orange is the games where you've won that XG battle. You win the XG battle time and time again. Now, if we put that to the game, I think what I said at the weekend, for me, does ring true. Because in this game, this was a game of small margins. And, for example, the Gabriel goal. In a low-scoring game, where you need a lot of luck to win, you need to do everything in your power to optimise the moments that you have to get the luck. Now, Arsenal haven't got the luck recently. They also haven't taken their chances. And is this a forward line that can win you the league? I don't know. But what I do know is that this is a well-coached team. Now, the personnel and the money that's been spent to bring them in, that is not hit and miss. Nothing can be, there's obviously a science to it. That's why people spend millions and millions of pounds on their recruitment in terms of trying to get it right. But generally, you would say that, say you buy 5 players, if 3 of them do the job that you want them to do, then you've done all right. And we were talking about Tottenham and the injuries that they've had and how you can kind of come in and fix it and hang in there. For Arsenal, you are further along the line. And I think what comes with that is the feeling of like, well, that means we need to win and we need to win now. What I will say is you will win games that you don't deserve to win. You'll also win games in a really efficient manner. You'll also grind down teams. And I feel like this was a game for that, because in terms of controlling the game, as I say, I think this is a bad front 3. Like, that doesn't excite you in terms of wanting to go and win the league. But in terms of the whole team, one player I think is phenomenal is Odegaard. I think the intensity that he shows from an attacking point of view, and without the ball as well, is huge for this team. Absolutely huge for this team. But they are so well coached, and there's something that's sort of ringing in my ears. I was watching a Coach's Voice with Marty Cifuentes, the QPR manager. And one of the things that he likes his team to do is travel together. And what I think Arsenal do brilliantly, and it's something that I think against Tottenham didn't travel together as a team. And what I mean by that is, the structure being there and in place, and you know that Partey's going to drop in at times, and you might spread out into a 3, and then Timber might come here, and you're going to work up. And one thing that I think they did, and we'll go look at the average positions in a sec, is that you've got this overload here, and they were able to get to Jed Spence and make his life difficult because Son wasn't working too bad, wasn't working back hard enough. But the team is able to work up the pitch really, really well, travel together. And when they do travel together up the pitch, they then keep it in the opposition's half and make it really, really difficult to come out there. And when they are going to look to burst in behind, you've got Saliba and Gabriel to go and deal with it. The rest defence is so strong, and that means the ball is really far away from the goalkeeper. You've also got a goalkeeper that's willing to come out whenever they need to. And what that leads to is, wait for it, territory and winning the XG battle. And you add into that the set pieces. And as I say, that first goal comes from a bit of luck, a lot of luck. It's a disgrace that you get the corner, in my opinion. But once you get that, how can you optimize that opportunity? That's what you are so good at. And the corners, I sort of went and looked to see like where were these corners going, and it was one at the back post, one in the middle, one at the back post, one in the middle, time and time again. And I thought for a second, Kingski, the goalkeeper, was doing what De Bradford had done. He was just coming out. But sooner or later, and there's a few to the front post, but rarely, because they want to get past that first man that we all get so annoyed about and hit the right area of the pitch. And sooner or later, as boring as it can be to watch, forgive me, I've done it on the wrong thing, and as boring as it can be to watch sometimes, you'll get your double bit of luck. Shouldn't have had the corner. It's come off Solanke, but Gabriel's gone and win the header. And so in terms of having to go Arteta, I really don't get it, because I think it's all the 1% that sadly elite sport requires. When you look at the two teams, that's the big difference here, and you ground them down. You really, really did. And the stats absolutely prove it. Let me show you the momentum bar, and it's just a team that's totally in control, in my opinion. As you can see right here, we'll go through the players in a second, because I thought there were some really good performances within all of that. But, really hot out the gate, really, really high intensity, obviously working with the crowd. And as I say, football's a funny old game. And so they do break and they do sneak a goal. But what do? You keep going, you keep going. The second goal is a great bit of work from Thomas Partey. You break, and again, look, can Kingsley save that? I think he probably can. But you're ready to go. You're ready to pounce. Is it totally fluid? I wouldn't be so sure. But it's a team. It's a unit. And I think the average positions, again, is one where it really, really highlights it for me. You can see the structure there. You can see going down that right-hand side. You can see how Timber's got underlapping or overlapping every chance he got. Everyone doing the right jobs, everything that's necessary for them, defending with the right attitude. Odegaard driving the team forward, looking to get those overloads on the right-hand side, and then create the space to find someone at Trossard. And as I say, that second goal kind of comes from that as well. Yes, it's not an incredible bit of play, but right moments, right movements, and as I say, good structure and travelling up the pitch as a team, and then keeping the opposition in the opposite half. And that's why I wanted to talk about this here, because can you win the league? It feels like you can't, doesn't it? Because it's funny, like you dominate pretty much every game that you play, yet we're not profoundly impressed by you guys. Let's run through the team in terms of players that played well or didn't play well. I thought Thomas Partey did really, really well in midfield. Raya made a couple of really big saves, one off Kulusevski in the first half, which could have been really, really important. I've got my man of the match, and I think they got it right. Gabriel, there's a moment on the 85th minute where he's checking Solanke, who's with him the whole time. Let me just get Tottenham up quickly. Solanke's running with him. Solanke decides to make this run where he can see the back of his head. And that's really difficult for Gabriel. But at the same time, you know that Solanke's going to make a run here. I don't know if you guys remember this moment. And it's in the 85th minute. Obviously, it's 2-1. They're trying to get back in the game. Solanke's movement overall is always really, really good. And Gabriel's head is on a swivel, constantly looking. And you can get unlucky with that because sometimes when you look and then go back, that's when they move. But he was looking enough that he had that final look just in time to see that Dominic Solanke was on his way, and he had the athleticism to get there and made an absolutely enormous tackle that no one will talk about, but I wanted to talk about it because he's unreal. And I'll say it with my chest. He is better than Saliba this season by a country mile. Now, part of that is because Saliba can't catch a break right now. And the goal's testament to that. But he is just a little bit iffy right now. Still a great player, okay? And that, form comes up and down. But Gabriel, with the goals that he's scoring and the defensive attitude that he brings, the intensity that he brings to the team, he's been absolutely phenomenal. Lewis Skelly, I thought, had a really, really good game. I think the sort of openness of Tottenham helped in that regard. I've got to be honest with that. But what I would say, the one thing I find interesting about him is that he kind of starts here and often makes this lovely little driving run. I'll just do it narrow into this area here. But then once he's here, he sort of just stands still and doesn't really know what to do once he kind of gets there. And so, yes, you've got a double pivot now in there, which is useful. Like, I understand that, and you're kind of sort of creating a box there, and it allows Rice to get higher up the pitch, or allows you to, move the ball around, through and get it over to this side, which is where they wanted to be. And we'll talk about Sterling in just a second. But at the moment, I think he feels like a bit of a spare part, and I think that's a youth thing. I think once he's there, he's kind of go, well, I'm not the sort of A side. Whereas I think there's going to be a moment. Ashley Cole spoke about this recently, where he said, like, you get to a point where he goes, oh no, actually, look, Tom Partey, can you go away? Give me the ball. I think that moment's coming for Lewis Skelly. I think he's getting more and more confident game in, game out. So really great for him to get that first North London derby. Trossard took his goal well, so much better on the left-hand side. On the right-hand side, it doesn't work, and that brings me to Sterling. Now, Sterling, did he beat his man in Jed Spence? Not really at any point. He kind of had him in his pocket, and that's disappointing. I would say the bulk of that is down to confidence. But in terms of an Arsenal team that's not really functioning outrageously brilliant right now, I think getting back to a place where you're working down this right-hand side, and we saw that in the average position just then, the bulk of the attacks always do come down this right-hand side. And, okay, it's not Saka, it's not Ben White. But Timber, I thought his runs underlapping or overlapping were really, really useful. I think Odegaard was always the guy they're trying to get the ball to. And sometimes you kind of want another run after that. And Havertz was coming in trying to help, or he got a little chance, didn't he, with a header. But Sterling, I think from a profile point of view, when you got Jesus out, he's going to have a run in the team now. You could put Martinelli out there. Maybe that's a road to go down. But then you're taking Martinelli out from the position that he knows and loves and has done his best work. So I think Sterling is one where, for the good of the chemistry of the team as a whole and what Arteta's drilled into this team over the last couple of years, and to allow Odegaard to kind of do what he wants to do, at least with Sterling, you're going to get some of those elements that are similar, and he's a very intelligent player in terms of his movement, so that will help with the team as well. No doubt his confidence is really low. I thought overall he was poor, and I think once you get to a certain age, and he's not even that old, is he? There's this feeling that he's kind of done. Maybe those legs have gone because he doesn't seem to be able to beat his man right now, but I do think confidence is playing a big part in all of that, as is the problems with Havertz, less so Trossard, more in open play with Trossard. But Havertz misses his chance, but Trossard takes his. Sterling's ineffective, but it doesn't matter because Odegaard was just absolutely fantastic. And you got yourself a goal from a set piece. And if you get yourself a goal from a set piece, even if you're generally dominating the game, knocking on the door, but not creating enough, that goal gets you back into the game. So everyone's going to have a go at it, but it's what's keeping you in the title race right now. So don't scoff at it too much, because I also think, and this is I think the most important point from me, this is not what Arteta wants long term. He wants Zubimendi. Well, I said it on Saturday Social, didn't I? Zubimendi makes this team better, but it's not just Zubimendi. You need a guy who'll play the pass, and you need those guys who are going to run in. Because, as I say, moving up the pitch as a team is one thing. But once you're in this area of the pitch, those darting runs, that double movement, that sort of back post party ability, that ability to beat players and take them out of the game, that's when, although you've got this team that is so structured and, you're really kind of keeping everyone in this area of the pitch, a bit like we've seen with Man City over the years. You can travel as a team together, but then you need those guys that are going to stretch it in those quick moments, both laterally to create those gaps, or, those little darting runs in behind, or taking a player out. And that's where you're struggling right now. But as I say, you've won the North London Derby. You've won both North London Derbies now. And set pieces have been a big part of it, as well as being really difficult to break down. Let me know how you're feeling, Arsenal fans, now after a crucial win. Are you still in title contention? You're certainly underdogs. Does that suit you? How are you feeling? Let me know. And go check out that Tottenham video as well. As presume Arsenal fans, you'll probably enjoy it.